In this video, we will see how to initialize and configure 128 x 64 pixels graphic LCD. So first of all, what does initializing and configuring a hardware mean? It means that before performing a particular task, we have to set the pins that are available on the hardware in the appropriate state so that we obtain our desired output. In our case, we are using a 128 x 64 pixel graphic LCD. In this graphic LCD, like a conventional 16 x 2 LCD, there are 8 data pins, that is D0 to D7, and 3 control pins, which is register select, read write, and enable. If the register select is set to 1, then the LCD controller interprets the received data as character data. That is the data which is to be displayed on the screen. And if the register select pin is set to 0, then the controller interprets the received data as commands. It interprets the received data as commands which are instructed to the LCD controller to be executed. Now if the read write pin is set to 1, then the LCD controller reads the data from the LCD RAM, and if the read write pin is set to 0, then the LCD controller writes the data to the LCD RAM. And similarly, the enable pin, this enable pin is basically used to provide latch signal. We have to send 1 and then 0 with a particular delay to latch the data that we send to the LCD controller. So apart from these 3 control pins, there are 2 more control pins available in the 128 x 64 pixels graphic LCD. Those are chip select 1 and chip select 2. Now suppose this is your graphic LCD. So this is your 128 pixel x 64 pixels graphic LCD. Now this LCD is divided into 2 parts. That is page 0 and page 1. Now as you know that the width of this graphic LCD is 128 pixels. So if you have to write the data from 0 to 63, then you have to select page 0. And if you have to write the data from 64 to 127, then you have to select page 1. This chip select facility is provided on this graphic LCD because there are 2 LCD controllers present in this module, each containing 8 data pins and 3 control pins. So in order to switch between these controllers, we are using chip select. Hence if you have to write the data on page 0, then you have to select the chip select 1 pin, and if you have to write the data on page 1, then you have to select the chip select 2. So these were all the pins that are present on the 128 x 64 pixels graphic LCD. Now as you can see on your screen, we have made a function named glcd underscore init in order to initialize and configure the graphic LCD. So first of all, inside this function we are using another function by the name config LCD. Now in order to operate in this 128 x 64 pixel graphic LCD, all we need are 13 GPIO pins of LPC2148 microcontroller, 8 for data bus and 5 for control pins. Now in the LPC2148 microcontroller, there is a GPIO register named IODIR, which sets the direction of any GPIO pin, that is whether we have to configure the particular GPIO pin as output or as input. So as we are not reading anything from this graphic LCD, we are only writing the data, right? We are only sending the data from the user side. Hence we have to set all the pins as output. So in this function, so inside this function config LCD, I will open this function for you. So as you can see, we are setting 8 data pins of LCD underscore data underscore port and 5 control pins of LCD underscore control underscore port as output over here. Okay, so and for that we have used a function named config GPIO. So in this function we are passing 4 parameters. So the first is the port name, the second is the pin number of that particular port, Then the third is whether we have to set the particular pin as output or as input, and at last the function of that pin. So the LCD underscore data underscore port and the LCD underscore control underscore port are basically the name given to the port one. So if I put the cursor over here, you can see the macro, the name we have provided, that is port one, and we have provided the similar name to LCD underscore data underscore port also. So basically we are using port one of LPC2148 microcontroller, and we are using those pins, and we are configuring them as output. So these names are just for the convenience of understanding for the users. Now let's come back to our main program. So this is the function glcd underscore init that we were looking at. Now after setting all the pins of the microcontroller for graphic LCD as output using this config LCD function, now we are setting some particular some parameters like line number, page number, and cursor position of the graphic LCD. Here the values which we are providing them are for the initialization of graphic LCD. So you can see we have provided some values, that is the first is LCD underscore set underscore page, then all these values. So these are for the purpose of initialization only. So whenever the graphic LCD is turned on, then the line number, page number, and the cursor position will be set at the position which is provided by us. That is all these values. Now the value which we are providing to the line number, that is this LCD underscore set underscore page, is a name which is given to the value 0 cross B8. Now this 0 cross B8 is a command using which is to be given to the graphic LCD to select the first line of the graphic LCD. Then we are setting the page as page 0, as we want to start writing from page 0 only, hence we are setting the page number as page 0. Then after that the value given to the cursor position is LCD underscore set underscore address, which is a name given to the value 0 cross 40. Now 0 cross 40 is a command which is used to set the cursor at the first pixel of any line which is selected. So these are the parameters that are set while we initialize the LCD. We are setting these parameters now, but we are using them later in our function. Hence, we have locally declared in the beginning of this function. These values won't be directly used inside in the upcoming functions or in the upcoming instructions, but they are used somewhere inside the functions that we are using in this glcd underscore init. Now after this, we have to turn on the LCD controllers of the module, and for that there is a command available. So now as you can see, first of all we are selecting page 0 using the glcd underscore page select function, and after that we are giving a command using this function command write. So we are giving the command lcd underscore on, which is a name given to the command 0 cross 3f, which is used to turn on the LCD controller. Similarly we did the same process with page 1 also. Then after that we provide another command using by the name lcd underscore display underscore start, which is a name given to the command 0 cross C0, which sets the cursor position at the first pixel of the first line of the graphic LCD. After that we are using a function named glcd underscore go to page, and we are setting the by default page to page 0. And finally we are using the glcd underscore clear function, so that it will remove all the previously displayed data that might be present in the memory of the graphic LCD. So this is how we initialize and configure the 128 cross 64 pixels graphic LCD.